Good day. Today's lesson is going to be on multiples and lowest common multiples. As with any other concept, before we can start talking about it, we need to know what it means. So if you were to go and look up multiples in the dictionary, you would find a definition that says a number that can be divided exactly by another number. Sometimes this becomes hard to understand. So if we were to look at a simple definition, we would see that it is any number that we say when we skip count by a given number. So for example, if we were to look for the multiples of 2, if we're looking for the multiples of 2, it is any number that we say when we skip count by a given number. So the multiples of 2 would start off with 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on and so forth. So if we look at lists of multiples of different numbers, we get started the one for 2, where we get 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and so on and so forth. For 3, we would have 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, and so on. For 4, we start off with 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, and 40. Each one of the numbers on the list is a multiple of the number at the beginning of the list. For example, 9 is on this list and it is a multiple of 3. 20 is on this list, so it's a multiple of 4. It is also on this list, so it is also a multiple of 2. Which brings us to our next concept, which is the lowest common multiples. And if we look at the definition, we find that the lowest common multiples are the lowest common multiple, not 0, of 2 or more numbers. So common, the word common in here means it is on both. So here we have a list of the multiples of 2 and the multiples of 3. So if we look at the common multiples, we look for the numbers that are on both lists. For example, 0 is on both lists. 6 is on both lists. 12 is on both lists. 18 is on both lists. So, if we're looking for the lowest common multiple, and then we have the stipulation not 0. The reason we have not 0 is that every number has 0 as a multiple. That is the reason that we do not have 0 as a common multiple. So that is the important reason of why the definition says not 0. So because every number has 0 as a multiple, that's why we added it to the definition. So in this case, we can say that the LCM, or the lowest common multiple, for 2 and 3 would be 6. If we look at the common multiples, so the common multiples of a number common multiples of 2 and 3, if we look at the list, we have 0, 6, 12, 18. So if we start off this list, we have 0, 6, 12, and 18. And if we continue this pattern, we see that they are multiples of the LCM. So once we find out the lowest common multiple of any two numbers, we can find out what the other common multiple would be. So if we want to find the lowest common multiples of 3 and 4, here we have a list of the multiples of 3 and the multiples of 4. And if we look at the common multiples, we have 0. Next one we have is 12. So if we look at what we learned previously, or what we talked about previously, that every common multiple is a multiple of the LCM, and we just found out that the LCM is 12, then the next common multiple should be 24, which it is. So we can say that the LCM for 3 and 4 is equal to 12. We can also look and find the lowest common multiple of 3 or 3-digit numbers. Here we have the list that we had at the beginning of the multiples of 2, 3, and 4. And if we look through the list, we can see that each number on here again has 0 as a common multiple. And then the next common one that is on all 3 lists is 12. Even though there is a 4 on 2 lists, on the multiples of 2 and the multiples of 4, it's not a multiple of 3, so it is not the LCM. I'm going to write that down, that 4 is not the lowest common multiple of 2, 3, and 4, because it is not a multiple of 3. So that is it for today. Just learn how to find the multiples, and when we know the multiples, we can then make lists and find the lowest common multiple.